idea on how things are shaping up in terms of social media. What can you tell us across the board from our viewers and from perhaps some of the authorities in the eastern region of the country?
Well, you know what, Gary, obviously thousands are still without power. In Charlottetown, they've pulled a lot of the snow plows off of the road. Not a good situation. Our storm line has been ringing off the hook with people saying, don't go outside. Visibility is just next to nothing. Environment Canada has indicated that gusts for the wreck house winds have reached 186 kilometers an hour, a new record. And for one of the windiest spots in Canada, that is pretty impressive. We take you to this. You can't really see much. Cars completely buried in snow. This is spring in Canada, the hashtag for this one. Not so much. And we'll take you next to this. The scenes continuing like this through parts of the Maritime provinces. This is in Lower Sackville earlier today, but things are winding down for you in the Maritime provinces. Places like Halifax, seeing ice pellets now. You've really seen the worst of it. This is now turning into a story for still Cape Breton Island, PEI, and Newfoundland. Take a look at this. People buried in snow. Totals are coming in to about 20 to 40 centimeters, could locally be higher. And this storm is really being compared to Juan. It's definitely stronger in terms of the pressure, but...
Talk a little bit about social media and what we're seeing. Nicole Karkic, what can you tell us?
Well, Gary, we're just being flooded with photos and videos of what's going on. And this is the whiteout conditions seen in the Maritimes, this specifically in Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia. And it is so bad on the roads through the Maritime provinces, particularly Charlottetown. They have pulled the snow plows because it's just not safe to be out there. Hydro crews as well being pulled off the ground because it's not safe. This is a look at the snowfall. It's going to just get even heavier and more higher amounts, up to 40 centimeters. A look at 24 hours before and after complete whiteout conditions. Coming up, our storm watch coverage does continue. We'll have live coverage on the ground in the Maritime provinces and an update on when this will end.
Great way to connect. Let's connect with Nicole Karkic. What can you tell us?
Well, you know what, Gary, people have just been tweeting like crazy, talking about how this is one of the worst storms they have ever seen. One person called our storm line and said in all their 16 years living in Halifax, this was the worst drive they had home from work. Take a look at this. Halifax Airport tweeted this. The only thing moving on the airfield are the plows. And of course, no flights going in or out, school cancellations. Also in Charlottetown, they have pulled the plows off the road. It's just not safe enough. A new record, wreck house winds gusting up to 186 kilometers an hour, and the photos keep flooding in. People can't see the cars, can't see ahead of them, and a time lapse of earlier today to now. Coming up, our storm watch coverage does continue. We'll show you more photos and videos, and we'll give you more indication on when warnings will end. Our storm watch coverage continues. A big storm moved through Atlantic Canada, officially known as a double weather bomb at this point. The pressure dropped that much. We've got Nathan Coleman live on the ground in Halifax. Nathan, take it away. Take it away.
I can definitely believe that it's a double weather bomb because it just feels like the bomb keeps on dropping here.
That's certainly right. Thanks so much, Nathan, and we'll check in with more coverage across the Maritime provinces coming up. But let's talk about how things are going in Halifax. You have seen the worst of it, if you can believe it. This is just the lingering effect. Storm surge warnings have dropped across Nova Scotia. That's some good news, but they're still in place through New Brunswick. This is a look at the radar returns. You can see it's thinning out right here, Yarmouth, Halifax as well, but you're still getting some ice pellets. Temperatures in Halifax hovering around -4. For Charlottetown, this is an area where it is just continuing to be very intense. They've pulled the snowplows off the roads because it's just not safe to be there. We could also see some mixing here around Sydney. St. John's seeing the snow as well. Blizzard warnings in place. You can see anywhere marked in red, but everywhere is pretty much touched. Nowhere is not being hit by this storm in the east. Maybe areas like Edmundston not seeing winds as strong as you are around the western shores of Newfoundland as an example. We take a look at this. This is the snowfall you're going to get. It's darker here in blue, 20 to 30 centimeters. Anywhere in white, we'll see a little bit more, like towards Labrador. St. John's, you're on the lower end because you're actually going to start to warm up through the overnight hours. Get above the freezing mark, so you'll start to see some mixing. This is why this system is considered a weather bomb. Now a double weather bomb. We saw pressure drop by over 50 millibars in less than 24 hours. Now we're going to look at a video. This has gone viral on social media. It's our very own team members, meteorologist Chris Scott, storm hunter Mark Robinson, trained professionals.
Okay.
Now, they were completely blown over. They got up again. They are trained professionals. They are all right, but they were in Grand Etang with wind gusts well over 100 kilometers an hour. They're safe and sound, but yeah, the wind's still blowing. Through to Thursday, Halifax, 5 to 10 centimeters, darker blue zones, 10 to 20 centimeters of snow potentially, and then those winds howling through the overnight. Coming up, our storm watch coverage does continue. We're going to check in live on the ground in New Brunswick just ahead. Our storm watch coverage continues. There are major power outages across the board for the maritime provinces. Flights are not getting in or out of the area, of course. This is now considered a weather bomb. We'll have more details on how long this storm will last, but first we'll head to Marco Perron, who is on the ground in Shediac, New Brunswick.
This is weather condition at its worst. It is really, really intense. Tomorrow's
All right, that is from Marco Perron in New Brunswick. Now, as you can see and tell, things are looking treacherous. We've had people calling our storm line saying that this is some of the worst conditions they have ever seen. In comparison to White Juan, this has now reached a barometric pressure that is lower. The difference with this is that the winds are a lot stronger, but the snowfall totals will be lower. With White Juan, snowfall totals were over 70 centimeters. With this event, closer to 40. Take a look at what's going on, thinning out right here for Halifax. We've had reports of ice pellets. For Charlottetown, snowplows have been pulled off the roads because it is just unsafe. For St. John's right now, you're seeing that snow moving through. That will change over to rain through the overnight hours. Winter storm warnings in place anywhere marked in pink, but if you're not included in a warning right now, doesn't mean you're not getting hit by very strong winds or snow. This is our very own meteorologist Chris Scott and storm hunter Mark Robinson earlier today in Grand Etang. This video has gone viral. Check it out. And we need to stress that you should not be out in wind conditions like that. They are trained professionals. Mark Robinson, a storm hunter, Chris Scott, a meteorologist, but just an indication of what was going on in Grand Etang and looking like that in many other areas across the region. This is snowfall into Thursday. St. John's in the lower end, you're going to get that mixing gander, seeing up to 10 to 20 centimeters of snow. Coming up, we'll talk more about how this is a record-breaking situation. Gary also will have when this is going to end. Our storm watch coverage continues. Blizzard warnings still blanketing Atlantic Canada. We're going to check in right now with Marco Perron, who is in Shediac, New Brunswick. And Marco, not a good situation for you tonight. From what I understand, you're completely stranded in the area.
Yeah, we left Moncton this morning and it was spring, but right now we're in Shediac.
Boy, oh boy. Well, Marco, good luck. Keep warm, and we'll check in with him again to see how things are looking. Now, that's a situation you don't want to be in, so don't travel out tonight. It's just absolutely treacherous out there. Take a look at the satellite and radar. We've got that snow that's thinning out a little bit around Yarmouth, but Halifax still getting into it. It's really now in areas around Cape Breton Island, moving very heavily through Newfoundland, so it's going to be a mess. Here are the warnings still in place. Now we're going to check in with Mark Robinson, as well as meteorologist Chris Scott. This was earlier today, and this video has gone completely viral. Check out how it looked when they were in Grand Etang earlier today. And to take this away, they are trained professionals out in those very strong winds. They go storm hunting, do the whole bit. They know what's going on. So definitely you want to stay indoors, or you could be in a situation like that. Take a look at the snowfall tonight into Thursday. Light blue, seeing 10 to 20 centimeters. If you're in the Avalon Peninsula, you're going to see warmer temperatures through the overnight. We'll get northeast winds shifting to a northwesterly direction. Take a look at this. This is the pressure that dropped so dramatically. It is now considered a double weather bomb because pressure dropped more than 24 kilometers in 24 millibars rather in 24 hours. Now through to Thursday, Halifax, yeah, you're still going to see a little bit of snow. The more concerning thing with this storm is definitely the winds gusting over 100 kilometers an hour. Wind warnings still in play. Coming up, our storm watch coverage does continue. We'll check in with Gary as well with a look at the current watches and warnings. We continue our storm watch coverage in Atlantic Canada. This is one of the strongest storms Atlantic Canada has ever seen. It is now, in terms of barometric pressure, stronger than White Juan. Winds are strong. We're seeing high snowfall totals. Let's check in with Nathan Coleman, who has been on the ground in Halifax, Nova Scotia, braving those winds all day.
Yes, you can see behind me the big plow moving through here. This is Spring Garden Road, and there's also the police.
Thanks so much, Nathan. All right, the only sort of good news we've heard out of Nova Scotia is the storm surge warnings have dropped, but for New Brunswick, they are still in place. It has been a mess across the board, as you can see. Now, we just received a few storm line calls. Gusts have been well over 100 kilometers an hour, and you don't see that every time we get a storm through Atlantic Canada. Wreck house winds have been over 180 kilometers an hour, peaked at 186, and that is now a new record for wreck house winds. So it's been that kind of day. Halifax Airport, they tweeted this earlier today. The only thing moving on the airfield are the plows today. And then in some cases, the plows have been pulled off the roads because it has not been safe enough. We'll take you to this shot. Again, the wreck house winds, a new record for the area. The blizzard-like conditions. As we take a look at this, a time lapse 24 hours ago and then now. This was in Dieppe earlier today. This is another shot of sort of a nice time lapse. This photo from 12 noon, then 1 and then 2 p.m. This is in PEI, so you can see the sharp contrast of how things have been going on. Chris St. Clair's been on the ground. We've had a full crew, a whole team, and there's actually also a viral video on our website, theweathernetwork.com, of meteorologist Chris Scott and storm hunter Mark Robinson that you can check out at theweathernetwork.com. Hey, this guy's having a good time. Why not barbecue? It is spring after all, but you're probably going to have to put that away tonight because the winds are going to be too strong for that. And this guy just pushing the car along. So, as we look at this picture here, really just what's going on in the area, and I really want to see more of your photos and videos. So upload them here at theweathernetwork.com, and we will also be looking at social media to see what's going on. The current radar is showing that it is now transitioned over to rain through Sydney, but there's all that snow in through Newfoundland. Our Storm Watch coverage does continue just ahead. Boy, oh boy, it's been a busy day in Atlantic Canada. We still have blizzard warnings in place. Wow, you can hear those howling winds. This is Nathan Coleman, who is on the ground in Halifax. He's been out there all day. So, Nathan, what is the latest at this hour?
Well, we're here and we're still getting the wind and we're still getting more snow here in Halifax. You can see it falling behind me. So this has been going on since the early morning hours.
Well, Nathan, thanks so much. And you've been doing a great job today. For Nova Scotia, a lot of areas you've actually seen the worst. That's the good news part of it. And portions of New Brunswick as well. It's not a good situation there. Thousands still without power, of course, at this time. Let's take you to some other shots of the day that we've seen across Atlantic Canada. This is from Nathan Coleman. Winds really starting to pick up along Halifax waterfront. This was earlier today. And as we take a look at this, you can see downtown Halifax, just the type of day where you want to stay indoors. And a lot of people were saying that on Twitter, saying things like, this is the worst storm they have ever seen. And in terms of barometric pressure, this is worse than White Juan. Now, the difference between this and White Juan is that the winds are stronger, but with White Juan, we definitely had higher snowfall. Totals coming in at over 70 centimeters. With this event, we're looking to be around the 40 to 50 centimeter range. Whiteout conditions, as you can see, that's in Nova Scotia. People just looking at the snow, staying inside tonight, staying inside tomorrow, I'm sure. A nice 24-hour look. This is in Dieppe, and you can look at this shot right here. Also, a time lapse of 12 noon, then 1, and then 2 p.m. We saw snowfall rates today across the maritime provinces of at least 5 centimeters per hour. Greenwood, Nova Scotia, 9 centimeters in an hour. So that's the type of situation it's been. But on the lighter side, this guy getting out and doing some barbecuing. Why not? Pretty good day to do that. Let's now take you to what's going on the radar. We're going to look at how it is thinning out for you in parts of Nova Scotia. A few stormline callers were saying, I'm in Sydney. We've seen rain, and we've seen at least 5 to 10 millimeters through sections of Sydney. So it is starting to clear out for you there. But then look at Newfoundland. You're still seeing a lot of the action, and also through the Bay of Fundy as well. So it is not done yet. There's still a lot more to go. Still winter storm warnings in place. Anywhere marked in pink, we have blizzard warnings as well. And blue, that is a blowing snow warning, which means the very strong winds. And if you stepped outside, if you watched Nathan Coleman, you could hear those winds. It is definitely very strong. So this means blowing snow all around. Halifax, you've seen 9 centimeters. This is as of 9 p.m. local time. Sydney, 21 centimeters. Greenwood's come in at about 37 centimeters of snow. Still a little bit more to go, particularly in through Newfoundland. Western Shores getting getting 20 to 30 centimeters of snow. And take a look at this. We don't say this every day. This was not only a weather bomb, which means that the pressure dropped 24 millibars within 24 hours. This is now a double weather bomb. So definitely an epic storm, the strongest one we have seen this year, and this is the snowfall that you're going to see additionally in through the Maritime provinces and wind warnings. Coming up, an update on all these warnings. The storm alive and well in Atlantic Canada. Blizzard warnings in place across the board. We've got wind warnings, and we saw earlier today wreck house winds break a new record, 106 km/h gusts. Now we take you to Nathan Coleman, who's in Halifax, where the winds are still pretty substantial. He's been outside all day, where it has just been a mess. Now we're going to go to Nathan Coleman in a few moments, but let's take a look at the radar. You can tell right here where we're seeing the green, that's rain showers. We've had a few storm callers in the area saying it's now transitioned over to that rain, so it's going to be quite sloppy on the roadways if you're outside tomorrow at all, maybe trying to shovel. It's going to be that heavy wet snow, because we've seen at least 10 to 15 centimeters of snow mixed in with 10 millimeters of rain. As we look right here, the blue still bringing in some heavy snowfall through central parts of Nova Scotia and in through Newfoundland. That's where we're really seeing the bulk of the storm right now. Burgeo included still in a winter storm warning, and blizzard warnings too blanketing the region as well. St. John's, you're in a blowing snow warning. That means strong winds, gusts well over 100 kilometers an hour, and some snowfall too. But you're going to see warmer temperatures in areas through the Avalon Peninsula in the overnight. That's going to rise up your temperatures. So we're going to see some rain there and some mixing as well. As of 9 p.m. local time, Sydney 21 centimeters, Halifax 19, Yarmouth 37, Greenwood 37 as well. This is how much more we have to go. 20 to 30 centimeters, anywhere marked in dark blue, but Labrador, you're still going to really be feeling the effects tomorrow throughout the entire day of this storm as it heads towards you. This is a look at how the pressure dropped so quickly, and it is now considered a double weather bomb. Let's now look at a video that was taped earlier today in Grand Etang with our very own storm hunter Mark Robinson and meteorologist Chris Scott.
You okay?
Since then, they have gotten back to their hotel safe and sound, but quite a jolt. That video has actually gone viral. If you'd like to see it again, you can head to our website, theweathernetwork.com. Quite a day. And we're going to still continue to see those very strong winds, so it's going to blow all of this snow around. So an additional under 5 centimeters through Halifax. Charlottetown seeing a little bit more, and this is a zone right now where they've pulled a lot of the snow plows off the road because it is just too dangerous to be out there. That is a similar situation with the power crews. They just don't want people working outside in these conditions. So definitely not a good situation. Wind warnings still in place through St. John's, over 110 to 20 kilometers an hour. And on our map right here, we had to build in a new color. Look at the pinks. That's sustained at 60, but we've seen sustained at 80. So we had to definitely get in some new colors here. We pulled in some whites earlier today. Winds are going to change into a more northwesterly direction as we head into tomorrow. As far as the storm goes, coming up, we're going to continue our storm watch coverage, but we'll tell you when it's going to end and what storm you have to look out for next. Maybe you're traveling stateside on Thursday. Looking pretty good if you want sunshine in New York, but cool, 5 degrees, Boston 6, Miami getting up to 24 with some cloud cover. Towards Las Vegas, 21, Los Angeles getting up to 18 degrees. Towards Europe, Amsterdam's 15, Paris will be up to 14. Rome is seeing some showers. And if you're flying into London, looks pretty good. We've got just some cloud cover, but dry weather. Nice will be up to 19. Safe travels. We've been busy all day here at the Weather Network. Storm watch coverage does continue. I'm Nicole Karkic. Coming up, we'll break down the storm, who's seeing more snow, and what the winds are looking like. But first, let's head out to Nathan Coleman, who's still reporting live in Halifax.
Yes, it's been quite the start to spring here at double.
All right, thanks so much, Nathan. He has been doing an excellent job out there all day. Now, for areas in the Maritime provinces like Sydney, for example, we've seen that change over to rain. Halifax earlier today, you saw some ice pellets as well, so quite a situation. We will take you next to this image right here, where you can see the very strong gusty winds. And as we look to what's going on, this was from New Brunswick, and we saw this situation where one of our viewers told us that basically they couldn't see in front of them and that it was one of the worst drives they've ever taken. Now we will show you more that was sent to us here at theweathernetwork.com. People maybe off from work enjoying a spring dip. Hey, why not? These people were from Moncton, New Brunswick. So this was shot earlier today. If you got the day off, why not enjoy it? It's spring, so get out there in the hot tub. This is the plows that we saw in Prince Edward Island. A lot of them not working tonight because of the very rough conditions. And we'll take you next to this shot right here. The title of it was Winter Returning, and definitely it has. Now take you to Grand Etang from earlier today. Meteorologist Chris Scott, as well as storm hunter Mark Robinson from earlier today. Please note these two are trained meteorologists on the ground. Mark always is on the ground in the thick of it. He knows what to do when things go wrong, so you definitely don't want to be out there like they were because the winds can completely push you over. We'll take a look at the radar and you can see still some snow moving through Charlottetown. There's that rain in the green, so we're getting some warming happening through the overnight. We're going to shift into rain around St. John's through the pre-dawn hours. But yeah, a lot of warnings still in place. Winter storm, blizzard warnings through the Avalon. We're in blowing snow warnings, and this is the snowfall totals we've seen so far today. Coming up, an update on the latest watches and warnings and when we're free and clear.
Unscheduling.
If you're traveling, there's a nor'easter still in Atlantic Canada, so travel probably out of the question there. Breezy in southern Ontario, the north around the Nickel Belt, Thunder Bay, seeing snow. Prairie Province is good to be traveling there, and we get a nice break in southern BC for tomorrow. Vancouver, spotty showers, but up to 10. Calgary will be -6, clearing out for you. Toronto, rain showers late in the day. The high, though, +5. We're going to see some southerly winds. Things are warming up there. Halifax, a lot clearer, -2. St. John's, clear as well.
Charging ahead. Nicole Karkic joins me now to give us an idea on social media. I've been on Twitter. You have, of course, a lot of people giving us some great information about what they're experiencing in their homes, trying to shelter themselves from this massive system.
That's right, Gary. There were just so many photos to pick from and tweets as well to share. So let's start off here. John Miller, blizzard hits the Maritime. So it's hitting him in Moncton at this point of the picture. And then he takes a shot just a while later as the storm keeps getting worse. So you can see decreased visibility. And that's what the roads start to look like earlier today. So there were lots of road closures, school closures, of course. Airports were just not getting any flights in or out at all. Just a bad situation. We take a look at this. This is in Moncton, New Brunswick earlier today. That is a pool. I don't know if you can make that out. So no one is swimming there today. And as we look at this shot right here, just another perspective. This is in Prince Edward Island, where we still have some snow to contend with tonight. Up next, we've got this. Look at that snow-covered leg right here. This girl hugging her pet. Absolutely adorable. So maybe a lot of people stayed home today. Were able to spend a little time with family. But, of course, we've had some power outages. This is in downtown Halifax from earlier today. Pretty spectacular. And again, some whiteout conditions. We'd love to hear from you. Upload your photos and videos to our website, theweathernetwork.com. Coming up, our Stormwatch coverage does continue.
Night. Let's talk a little bit about social media and, of course, the importance of communication on the ground. Let's get an idea of what we've been dealing with. Nicole Karkic, what can you tell us?
Well, Gary, I'm going to start off on a light note. We've seen a couple of people tweeting the blizzard-like conditions, but how about this? A spring dip. If you got the day off, why not jump in the jacuzzi? This is in Moncton, New Brunswick from earlier today. We'll take you to the next shot. Snow plows. This has been a big story through Charlottetown in particular. A lot of the snow plows taken off the roads because it just has been too unsafe, and this is why. You can see the completely blowing snow. I also want to take you to this next video. This is sent. This was sent to our website, theweathernetwork.com. Also in through New Brunswick, you can see the very treacherous conditions. No visibility at all. We have seen record-breaking winds today. Wreck house winds got up to 186 kilometers an hour. We still have the sweat wind warnings in place. Those could be up to 160, and for St. John's, your winds could be gusting up to 140. Coming up, our Stormwatch coverage continues. We'll have more on this big double weather bomb.
A blanket of energy across the east, potentially to a break by Friday, into another storm potentially. I'm sure we're going to be on Twitter and Facebook about that. Nicole Karkic.
That's right, Gary. Now, the only good news that we've heard are a few of the blizzard warnings are being dropped at this point. Bathurst, New Brunswick out of the blizzard warning, as well as Inverness County and through Nova Scotia. So there is some lessening there. But look at this. This is 10:45 p.m. local time, PEI in Summerside. You can't even make out really what is going on here, but you can tell that there's very strong blowing winds. This was on Twitter. John Miller said blizzards hit the Maritimes, hitting us in Moncton right now. This was earlier today, but then he showed a shot a little bit later. Storm is getting worse. So that progression, as you can see very clearly. This is a pool out in someone's backyard. No one's going there today. And we've had some fun photos as well. People just out, maybe trying to enjoy the day off perhaps, barbecuing in the snow. It's spring after all, not looking like it, of course, but also we've seen amazing tweets like this, the time lapse of what happened in Dieppe earlier today. Coming up, our Stormwatch coverage does continue. We'll give you more details on when this storm will end, but another one's approaching. If you're traveling, there's a nor'easter still in Atlantic Canada, so travel probably out of the question there. Breezy in southern Ontario, the north around the Nickel Belt, Thunder Bay, seeing snow. Prairie Province is good to be traveling there, and we get a nice break in southern BC for tomorrow. Vancouver, spotty showers, but up to 10. Calgary will be -6, clearing out for you. Toronto, rain showers late in the day. The high, though, +5. We're going to see some southerly winds. Things are warming up there. Halifax, a lot clearer, -2. St. John's, clear as well.